Hello there. This is my weekend update quickie, so please stick with me for a couple of minutes. But before we do anything, here are news that may not surprise you. Richard Hoover Shelby, Alabama's senator and top Republican on the Senate Banking Committee, took over $100,000 in money from banks, bankers and insurance corporations and their employees during the 2007-2008 period. I am analyzing the situation and will report on it shortly in more detail. Never in my life have I seen such a collection of enemies of the state, enemies of the public in one place. Ranging from politicians who torpedo clinical trials for a cure for liver failure, for money that is, to those who jeopardize the national security, keeping us dependent on foreign oil to be bought from mostly hostile nations. And you guessed it, for money that is. Alabama's Senator Richard Hoover Shelby, better known as Senator from Hell, nearly managed to make our economy a dead man walking by bringing our car manufacturers one step closer to bankruptcy. I am calling him Hoover Shelby not only because he tries to reinstate Herbert Hoover's disastrous do-nothing policies, but actually looks like him. Hoover Shelby's refusal to provide bridge loans to car makers could easily add another 2.5 million unemployed to the current record 6.5% unemployment figure. The current number of unemployed has hit 4.43 million. I don't have reliable data but feel relatively safe by assuming that the average annual salary was at least $24,000. That is a loss of purchase power of over 106 billion per year. Hoover Shelby's attempt to add 2.5 million automotive workers to the roll of unemployed would add another 145 billion purchase power loss to it. And never mind the cash outlay to be paid by taxpayers in the form of unemployment benefits that would total some $25 billion. Though politics play a major role. And now to the bad news. The Energy Department estimates a decline in GDP, that is gross domestic product, of 1.5% and an unemployment rate of 7.9% for 2009. Economists at the University of California, UCLA, forecast a rate of 8.5% unemployment for 2009 instead. In Europe, that problem may even be bigger. In Germany, for example, the decline in gross domestic product is expected to hit 2.2%. Germany in its entire existence has never before experienced such a decline. Even in the mid-70s oil crisis, the decline was only 0.9%. British newspaper Daily Mail also reports about what they call Carmageddon, with tens of thousands of cars being stored in green pasture. Volkswagen tries to use the US version of Carmageddon by pushing their somewhat more fuel-efficient cars into the US market and trying to increase their market share while GM, Ford and Chrysler fight for their existence. I hate to tell you that VW is just another corporation that has slept and as of this day done little or nothing to electrify their cars. I mean acted on it, never mind blubbering. For those of you who missed my earlier video blogs on the impact the electrification of cars has on national security, here is a comment on Hoover Shelby. How on earth can an elected official be so incompetent not to understand that our dependence on hostile nations for our oil supply makes us vulnerable to a continuation in part of economic disasters? The car makers' bailout was conditioned upon their commitment to electrify their cars. But then Shelby's colleague Jeff Sessions, also a Republican, also from Alabama, just took $5,000 from Chevron just about at the time when Mercedes sued Chevron for restraint of trade, which, surprise, was followed by a recusal of the randomly assigned judge. Do you get it? But there is light at the end of the tunnel, at least for today. Daily Mail reports about a builder of steam-driven car who tries to break the speed record for cars driven on hot air. I'm serious. Being that it runs on hot air, one reader commented that the car should be driven by members of their government. Good idea. Picture this: congressmen driving hot air cars rather than traveling in their hot air balloons. Oh, by the way, Siemens, the German super conglomerate, was fined by the SEC $800 million for having been involved in a massive bribery scandal. I reported about it and published evidence of payments to elected officials in the United States, who, by the way, were not fined. That's it for today. Take care and have a nice Sunday.